Welcome to Ask Win, everyone. And this morning I have Kelly with me from Find a Way Voices. Now, disclaimer number one is I'm using Kelly's competition, ACX. ACX is owned by Amazon, and so I am using Kelly's competition to produce my own audiobooks. That's why I brought Kelly on this morning for my own selfish reasons, because with ACX, you are stuck in a contract for 7 years. And if you want to get out of it, you have to pay the producer a hefty fee. I mean, I've had friends literally pay their producers on ACX because they want to get out of their contracts and switch their books around. And plus, ACX pays you by direct deposit at the end of the month, whereas Find a Way Voices pays you via PayPal, hopefully not at the end of the month. So enough with my disclaimers and enough of me rambling on. Without further ado, I'm going, Mr. Kelly, take it away.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it, and I'm happy to be on here. So thank you for letting me join you today. And even though you are making audiobooks and using perhaps a competitive service, it is good to hear that you are making audiobooks and you have started that part of the, let's call it, author journey. And audio is such a growing format. I've been an audiobook listener since I was about 6 or 7 years old, and my family was commuting from where we lived in Ohio down to Florida. So I've always loved the audio format, so I'll celebrate and sort of toast anybody that's making audiobooks. So congratulations there.
Well, thank you for that.
Yeah, you got it. Quick backstory. So currently I head up all of our author services as well as production services for Find a Way Voices. Find a Way Voices is for those unfamiliar, is a single service built to help authors and publishers create, market, sell audiobooks, do so without any push for exclusivity. So we're a fully open, non-exclusive platform promoting wide distribution. And our goal is to create an environment where the rights owner has more control, more flexibility, more freedom all through the process of running their audiobook business than what exists today. And so we can work with you to help connect you to a network of incredibly talented voice actors, voice actresses to create an audiobook. We also have the largest audiobook distribution network in the world, where we have more than 20 partners in retail, library, and K through 12, that if you make a book with us, we can easily help you distribute it all over the world. Or if you already have an existing audiobook, and it's not exclusive anywhere else, you can bring that audiobook right to us, and we can help you get it out, almost everywhere in the world where audiobooks are sold. I am a writer and a narrator technically, since I did narrate my own audiobook. And have loved writing, storytelling, the way books and words can inspire and motivate and captivate us all of my life. So it's particularly impactful for me and meaningful to be able to now help others create audiobooks and help their words reach listeners in what is really the fastest growing format in all of publishing.
Okay, my fan base knows this, but Kelly, you don't. I have a physical disability, so a lot of my audience is physically disabled. So that's why I started doing audiobooks. That's why I found ACX and started using them. Now, I'm not going to break contracts with ACX by any means, because as I said at the top of this phone call, to break contracts with ACX, it would cost me a boatload of money, for the exception of one of my books. But for my next book, if I wanted to use signed away voices and record it myself to you guys, I said, yes, record it myself so you guys could hear it in my own voice, not my novel, but the book after that, Simply Silly. How would I do that? How would someone like me do that? Would they record the audio into Adobe Audition and then send it to you guys with your quality standards, because I know ACX has quality standards, or would they just record it and send it to you guys without quality standards? How would one do that if they didn't want to sign in their way to have them audition and go through that process?
Yep, absolutely. And before I answer that specifically regarding how you would go about providing us with audio that you narrated yourself, I'll take a step back and actually talk about, because it is a broader question that a lot of authors have as to whether they should narrate and they should perform their own audiobook. And the answer, as always with these questions, is it depends. And where we see authors having more success narrating their works is when the book is nonfiction, memoir, biography, health and wellness, personal development, self-help type book, where the author has a strong voice and their audience is used to hearing that author's voice, either through presentations and conferences and speeches and things like that, podcasts, etc., or just the tone of their writing. When the audience is used to hearing from that author, oftentimes they want the author to continue with that engagement through the audiobook. So that's where we see it as being most common. When it comes to nonfiction works, that's where it gets a little bit challenging. And so when authors ask us about narrating a nonfiction story, let's say, for instance, it's a 100,000 word fantasy novel that has 25 different characters and is, building a different universe and things like that, or a unique universe and things like that. And that's where you really have to understand as the author if you are able to hold together the narration throughout the entirety of the audiobook, and you're able to create the right differences in inflection and in voice and in style between each character, and if you're able to remain consistent with it throughout so the audience knows who they're hearing. Can you carry the emotional tone and depth of the performance all the way through? And so that's where, if it's a fiction book, there's some questions that we like to ask up front, and we can work with you as the author to understand if it does make sense for you to narrate the book. And oftentimes what we'll do is have the author actually read chapter or two of their book and perform it so they get a sense of what it entails to narrate, and then we'll compare it to an audition or two from a narrator who's in the stable of Find Away Voices, and you get a sense of the difference in just approach to the performance. So that's context on the whole notion of authors recording their books. Now, specifically in your case, what you would do is you would want to make sure you had the appropriate either access to a studio or the appropriate home studio setup. And we do have some guidelines that we can share in terms of the right microphone, the right pop guard, the right just overall setup such that you're recording in an environment that will produce the best sound possible. And then also over the life of the recording, that it stays consistent, so there's sound consistency throughout the performance. And then whether you're using Adobe Audition or Audacity or a number of other programs, you would do the recording, you would do or contract out or hire out the editing for the audiobook, and what you would be delivering to us is a quote-unquote finished audiobook that's fully mastered and ready for sale through all of our distribution partners. And that's where we have the recording specs and recording guidelines that tell you exactly what the technical elements need to be in order for us to ensure that the book will be easily distributed through all of our partners. So you would be providing us with an audiobook that is, essentially it's ready for sale, on any audiobook seller site.
Something ridiculous. Now, for someone that doesn't want to do that, which I do want to do that eventually, I just need time to do it, and I need the home studio to do it, which I will get, you guys. I will get the home studio. I will get the time to do it because it takes about 4 to 5 hours to put this audio book, and yeah, it takes a lot out of the narrators, and so that's why I always hire professional narrators. But for this next how-to book, I am going to do it myself because you guys want to hear my audiobook in my own voice. So that's why I'm going to do this how-to book in my own voice. But for those who think, oh, that's a cool idea, but I don't have time or I don't have a home studio. Now, what do you, Kelly, suggest to them?
For somebody who's looking for a narrator to perform their audiobook?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, so that's where we can come in and provide a really valuable service to you where with Findaway Voices, we have a full casting team here where as a rights owner, what you'll do is you'll provide us with your manuscript. You'll answer a few questions about your book. So we just want to gain a little bit more familiarity with it. So you'll tell us a little bit about who the main characters are, some of the emotional tone and depth of the book. We're just trying to get a sense of whose voice will be a great fit for that, for the work. And then our team will provide back to you usually between 6 and 10 recommendations that are, it's a list built specifically for you in your book. And these are all performers who we think will be fantastic at delivering your audiobook. They're trusted by us to deliver a really high quality finished audiobook and will meet all of your expectations and needs. And then as the rights owner, you're able to view these performers, and you'll see their bio, you'll see their general audio samples, or you'll be able to hear their general audio samples and get a feel for their voice and their range of styles and abilities. And then from there, usually what happens is the author will elect to have 2 or 3 of the performers create an audition specific for their work, and that way you can hear your voice being read and performed by one of the narrators, and that gives you a really good sense of what to expect in the audiobook and leads you to make a decision. And then, of course, our team is there throughout this entire process, and our role in this is to try to narrow down this range of options that you have. And if you've never made an audiobook before, sometimes it can be difficult to know even where to start. What is a good voice for an audiobook? Can I trust the performer, and is the performer style right for this book in my genre and where sort of the trends are going today? And those are all the things that we're taking into consideration as we're making casting recommendations, and we're just trying to make the decision point as easy as possible for you and work with you along the way to make sure we get the right voice selected. And then you're able to work right with the performer once you've officially selected her or him in order to create the audiobook then throughout inside the Findaway Voices platform.
Now, okay, I'm sorry you guys, I keep thinking of ACX, but that's the only competition I know of. And so with ACX, you're under a 7-year contract. With you guys, what's the contract structure?
Yep. So with Findaway Voices, we are a completely non-exclusive platform, and you always own the rights to your books. So you are able to elect where you're distributing your audiobook, and you can make those changes at any time, and we'll work with the appropriate partner to, make sure those changes are in effect. And so, essentially you're in control, of your book at all times. With ACX, it's a little bit more complicated where if you choose the royalty share option when you create an audiobook, you're automatically, and the royalty share is where the rights owner pays nothing up front, and then the narrator performs the audiobook, and then author and performer split the royalties in perpetuity of the audiobook. And so if you choose that option, you're electing to be exclusive on the Audible platform, and at that point you are in a 7-year contract with them that in order to break, as you were mentioning, you have to create a payout scenario with the performer in order to do so. If you pay for the audiobooks production and or just distribute through them, the 7-year commitment, it's a 7-year term, but after the first year, you can elect to go non-exclusive with your distribution, and then you could bring your finished audiobook with us. So it sort of depends on how you've made the book and brought it to ACX with how much flexibility you have. But with Findaway Voices, we are not locking you into anything, as our goal is to keep the market as open as possible.
And I know with ACX, they work in Canada, they work in the U.S., they work in Ireland, they don't work in the U.K., I know that. So with Findaway Voices, do you guys work internationally, just in the U.S., or how do you guys work? Because I noticed you have a PayPal account to pay the author, which I think is dead cool. And so how do you guys work? Do you work exclusively in the U.S. or work nationwide or worldwide?
Yes, no, we are a fully global platform. So everything we do is available globally. We're distributing content to over 170 countries around the world. We're working with performers, really everywhere, in numerous countries around the world. And then we have audiobooks being made, in the U.S., in Canada, in the U.K., in Germany, in Latin America, in Asia. So we're everywhere. And so that's a big, it's a big point for us, is our goal is to continue to open the audiobook market and make it as accessible as possible for authors, for performers, and for listeners. And with the transition to mobile and mobile listening and mobile consumption, and being such a global force right now, it's important for us to not just focus on the U.S., but to be a truly global platform and making sure we're enabling access into audiobooks no matter how you're coming at it, wherever you are in the world.
And you, Mr. Kelly, paired up with Draft to Digital, didn't you? Because I use Draft to Digital, by the way, to submit my ebook every which way. And I keep saying at the end of my ebooks on Draft to Digital, do you want to make a audiobook using Findaway Voices? So do you think you'll pair up with Amazon at any time, or no? They're a whole different animal in themselves.
Well, in terms of, yes, we do. We have a terrific partnership with Draft to Digital. Those guys are absolutely fantastic. They're an amazing team to work with, an amazing partner. I'm sure you experienced that with ebooks. They really, really have an author-first mindset, and they carry that through everything they're doing. And
they do.
It's fun. it's fun to see what they're doing with the Books to Read platform. They had some big announcements last week with the book locker and the author pages and everything they're trying to do, or they are doing, and it's fun to watch. And so they're a great team to be so closely partnered with. So that's fantastic. We actually also just yesterday launched a partnership with Smashwords, and so we're now connected with Smashwords and can help Smashwords authors, access the audiobook market, make it really easy to connect with Findaway Voices and move ahead, whether you're creating a new audiobook or distributing an existing audiobook. And again, that's all about opening up the audiobook space as much as we can. As it relates to Amazon specifically, they have with ACX, they really have the solution in place that they want for independent authors. So they have that in place. Now, with that being said, on the distribution side, we do distribute to Audible and to Amazon, and then by proxy to them through on to Apple and iBooks. So we have a relationship on the distribution side, but as it relates to what Amazon does on ebooks, they sort of have that audiobook solution already in place with ACX. So I don't see us partnering with them.
Do you think ACX would give access to PayPal anytime soon, or no? Do you think that you guys are it for PayPal and paying the author?
I'm not sure on that one. You'd have to connect with their team and ask them. And I don't have any answer or any insight into that.
Well, I was just showing your curveball because you're in this industry as well, and I said to Mark Coker, I said, you need to get rid of your Smashwood style guide, and he got all mad at me. He's like, we're not getting rid of the Smashwood style guide, and that's why I don't use Smashwood yet, because it's a style guide, and it's a pain in the neck to use. It's literally a pain in the neck to use, and if you don't do it to their specific specifications, they kick you off. But, Mom, trust me, I've been kicked off Smashwords and Draft to Digital, and Draft to Digital was so much easier, and there's so many ways to skin the cat, whether it's through ACX or Findaway Voices. Now, how does one set up a profile on Findaway Voices?
Yeah, that's a great question. The most straightforward thing to do, you can go to findawayvoices.com and you'll be able to read more about Findaway Voices. You'll see all of our distribution partners. You'll get a lot of great info about who we are, who we work with, and what we do. And from there, there's a few buttons at top that let you sign up or log in to your account, and that will take you to essentially our online workflow, which is at my.findawayvoices.com. And from there, you're able to very quickly, very easily sign up, create an account and sign up as an author. And if you need to create an audiobook, you'll see right away the handful of questions that we ask and where to add your manuscript such that our casting team can get a good understanding of your book, and that will enter you into the process very easily. And then in a few days, you'll have the narrators that we recommend for you from our stable, the stable that we work with. And if you already have an audiobook, then you can move pretty easily through our site by you add your cover art, add your book's details and description and things like that, and then upload the audio files in a really easy interface. And you can publish, you can have your book, you can create an account and have your book uploaded and submitted to our team for a final quality review really in 10 or 15 minutes if you already have the audiobook. So super easy to go that way. If you're a Draft to Digital author already, you'll see a number of prompts inside your author portal, inside your login info at D2D, where you can choose to come over to Findaway Voices and start making an audiobook, and then now the same for Smashwords as well. So there's really 3 entry points that way, but the easiest is still just findawayvoices.com.
Yeah, well, you guys, when I publish this how-to book, which you guys will be amazed of what this how-to book entails, because you guys have been asking me for so many years to publish this how-to book, and you'll be amazed what I mentioned in this how-to book and why Siri is so cool and why I use Siri to write my book. And so what I'm going to do is when I publish it on Draft Digital, I'm actually going to make the audiobook through Findaway Voices, and it's going to be, I don't know when it's going to happen, but it will happen. So you guys get to hear my own voice, and now, since I put it out to the universe, now I have to do it. So Kelly will assist me. He will treat me with kid gloves, so I hope.
We will take good care of you.
This is my first time doing this, and now I have to do it because I promised my fan base I would. Oops. There we go, on the podcast. I promised my fan base I would. Anyway, I wanted to do this, and I wanted to surprise you guys with that news with Kelly on my podcast, because I thought, why am I going over to Findaway Voices competition when they're right there on G2G? I mean, why? What am I, nuts? So I decided to publish my own audiobook via Findaway Voices, and because with ACX, it's a wild goose chase, and Findaway Voices makes it so easy to work with. Plus, they pay you via PayPal. So, Kelly, my last question for you, before you ask me a couple of questions, is what's the payment structure on Findaway Voices? And is it 30 days, or is it right now, or what?
Yes, that's a great question. So with Findaway Voices, we pay all royalties within 30 days of the month end of when we receive them from our partners. So you as the author are paid monthly, but as an example, let's say there's sales that occur in March. We receive those. We receive the royalty report, the royalty statement, and the actual royalty payment from our partner during April, and then we would pay you in May for March's sales, and then in June we would be paying you for April's sales, and so on and so forth. So that you are paid every month. It just happens, we have to make sure we've collected from our partners, and most of them are on a monthly basis. So, but to you, you're paid each month. So, and then as the rights
with payment.
And then as the rights owner, you keep 80% of all net royalties that we collect. The royalty rates do vary. If you think about us, we work with over 20 different partners in retail, library, and K through 12, and we service almost 10 unique business models. So there's a whole host of options there, and so the royalty rates do vary by partner and channel and business model, but we have all of them, all of those rates and all those partners listed in our distribution agreement, which is inside our the My.Findaway Voices workflow. And we can share those with you, and so you have them. And again, you keep 80% of all the royalties we collect and are paid monthly.
And there's no way your payment structure is PayPal. There's no way that someone could do a bank account.
No, you can. You have the option to receive. Yeah, you do. So I should have answered that. I apologize. as the author or rights
Okay.
owner, you can elect PayPal, you can elect for an ACH or direct deposit, or you can actually elect by check. So we have authors using every one of those. So it's really up to you as to what fits you best.
And PayPal is the quickest to you guys, and that's why I'm going with Find a Way Voices, because ACX, ACX and me do not, we mixed, but now I am, since it keeps staring me in the face when I publish on Draft Digital, I'm like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm just going through Draft to Digital because Draft to Digital pays via PayPal anyway. So why not keep it consistent? Why not keep it consistent even though I get paid by Amazon through my bank account? But I'm like, why not keep it consistent? Why not get paid through PayPal when you publish a book, ebook, and now audiobook? So my last question, and it's going to be a tax-related question, do you send to all of us in the U.S. 1099, or how does that work? Or do we have to go through my Find a Way Voices to download the tax documents, or how does that work?
I believe we send them to you based on the contact information that you have on file. I could actually check on that. We've made several updates into the, I'll call it account management system inside the website. And so we may be posting them there as well, but right now I believe we're sending them to you. So, but I can also confirm with that, with you about that separately.
Well, yeah. Would you, and then I'll post update on the website, you guys. For those of you who are interested in doing this, you can know what Find a Way Voices does with tax stuff, because, selling, even though you guys sell books, and even though I sell books, you still have to write them off on your taxes. The still taxable dollars. You can't get away with selling books and not reporting it to the IRS sometimes. So the reason why I ask that is because it's tax season. So I'm going to
I'm behind. I need to do mine. I've only got a couple of weeks left.
You're behind. So, oh God. So that's the fun of being. That's one of the drawbacks of being an author. Every single year you have to report your book sales to the IRS, and that's always lovely. And so, Kelly, what questions do you have for me, if any?
Yeah, well, I'd love to hear more about the book that you are planning to perform and record, and then also kind of understand when you plan on doing so, and make sure I mark it on my calendar that I'm checking in with you and making sure I know when to expect it.
Well, that's might be kind of you. Right now I'm actually working on a huge project. I'm actually trying to get traditionally published, and if agents turn me down, I will self-publish again and possibly use Find a Way Voices for this book, because it will be staring me in the face again. But we'll keep you updated on that. But the book I'm going to be definitely using Find a Way Voices for is a how-to book, and it's called Simply Silly Bean, Apple's Dictation. And I'm also working on a Dragon Naturally Speaking book too, for you guys on Dragon Naturally Speaking. So you guys have both platforms via me, even though primarily I use Siri. And because people think it's so amazing that I write books via Siri. Day one, Apple iPhone number one, I wrote iCover Win on Siri, basically. And then I sent it to the editor, and she made it all pretty, and I self-published it. So, that's how I found out about ACX. And then, so the book I'm planning to do with Find Away Voices is called Simply Siri, and it's going to be a how-to book, and it's basically how to write books using Siri. And then I'm working on a Dragon Naturally Speaking book, which, again, it's going to be how to use Dragon Naturally Speaking to write books, because you guys, for some weird reason, think it's so amazing that I'm writing books with a physical disability, and I'm a published author and writing books using speech dictation, and I was one of the first ones to do it. People thought I was crazy at the time. Now they don't think I'm so crazy. So that's the one I'm planning to do Find Away Voices with.
Awesome. Well, we can't wait. So I'm looking forward to it.
Well,
I'm looking forward to it.
I know you guys can't wait. I know you
guys
can't
working more closely.
Wait. It's the only reason why is because it keeps staring me in the face when I publish with Draft to Digital, which, by the way, Draft to Digital, even though they don't sponsor this podcast, way back in the archives of this podcast, I had Kevin Tomlinson on, who's the director of Draft to Digital, and he hosts a podcast called The Word Slinger Podcast, and he's a fiction author, and he does a bunch of Draft to Digital. And so if you ever see me his tweets about D3, and now you're wondering why Find Away Voices is partnering, why I'm partnering with Find Away Voices, is because, as I said, it keeps staring me in the face. It keeps really staring me in the face every time I go on Draft to Digital to publish a book. It goes, do you want to publish a new book? And I'm like, no, not today. But I'm like, okay, the last time I published a book on Draft to Digital, I'm like, okay, next time I publish a book, I'm going to Find Away Voices, because I'm like, you're nuts to be publishing with the competition if the one Find Away Voices keeps staring you in the face. And so I can't wait to work with Find Away Voices. As I said, I will still be working with ACX, but ACX is about to go out the door in my life because they're getting way too complicated. And so I'm going to work my Simply Siri on Find Away Voices and see how that goes.
Awesome. Well, we can't wait to work together. It'll be a lot of fun.
Awesome. I know. And so do you have any other questions for me?
No, I think we've covered some really good ground today.
We've covered the gamut. We've covered the gamut. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
if you,
those offers on stuff was you guys can get Find Away Voices too. And those offers on Amazon, I'm sorry, you guys have to use ACX, and eventually I'll bring the ACX team on if they want to talk to me. But right now, Amazon is going through so many changes. I mean, it's not even funny. So my biggest fear is that creates space for closed doors, create space for nobody halfway closing doors by cutting the professional publishing end of it. So that's the other reason why I'm going with Find a Way Voices too, is because I don't want to get in mess with ACX and then realize that they're funding ACX, and so that's the reason why I'm going with Find a Way Voices too for this how-to book. And I don't know when it's going to be written, and I don't know when it's going to be edited, and I don't know when I'm going to start doing it, but I will do this book for you guys so you can hear it in my own voice. And I thank Kelly for coming on and explaining Find a Way Voices. And of course, we'll have all of Kelly's information in the show notes. I know you guys. Oh, and a quick programming note. I don't know when this podcast is coming out because the computer I'm using conked down on me yesterday. So I'm trying to get that back up for schoolwork, but I don't know when this podcast is coming out. Probably if I can get it back up today, today being Thursday, this podcast will come out on Friday or maybe even on Sunday. I don't know. So just to let you guys know, I'm having technical difficulties with my computer. So I will catch you guys later, and I thank Kelly for coming on and sharing his journey. Thanks to you guys.
Thank you.